Alright, we're back. I forgot to mention the other one about kind of room temperatures. All these timings and everything is based on I think the assumption of like the room temperature is 19 to 21 degrees. So it's colder, kind of blow temperatures out a little bit, not too cold. If it's warmer, then you maybe kind of shorten some of the time frames. But I generally try and do it on feel and how the dough looks, and you kind of you figure that out over time. Anyway, this is Autolyse. So what we're going to do now is we've got salt. We've got 20 grams of salt and 4 grams of instant yeast, and you just put this on top. And so this is the different step from a lot of other doughs, where doughs you kind of like really knead them. This is more, it's a mixing technique. You're not really kneading at all. So we've got the salt and salt and yeast mixture here. So what we're just going to do is just going to lift this over. During this process, actually, if we've got to do it wet, it's good to wet your hands a few times through the whole process with some warm water, just so the dough doesn't stick to you too much. You just don't want to stretch the dough too much. So you just want to kind of fold this in like this, like that, and then you're going to start, it's called the pincer method. So just essentially with these two, whichever fingers you work, like your fingers and your thumb, you're just going to pinch it into small balls about 5 or 6 times per bit of dough. So you just pinch that, pinch that. So this is kind of, and then you fold this over. So once they're in little balls, you're just going to fold it over nice and gently, and then you go at the other angle, and then you pinch across it again. So yeah, as I said, this is where it differs, where you're not kneading this, you're not really hammering it. You don't want to develop too much gluten in this process at this stage. You'll be folding it later, which is when we want to develop it, and we're very deliberate about how much gluten we want to develop. So the way I understand gluten is if inside of bread, it kind of like, gluten acts as kind of like the framework. So in a lot of bread you get where there's not a lot of bubbles in it, it's been, a lot of gluten has been developed through the kneading process, and so it's quite a tight web. But in a lot of these sort of doughs where you have big bubbles of air in it, there's not quite as much gluten, so the web's a lot looser, is the way I understand gluten. I think I'm right. You've been doing this, so you probably do this for about 5 minutes in total. Roughly that, depending on how warm your dough is, because the warmer it is, the quicker the salt and yeast will mix through it. But you kind of can feel it when you're squeezing it. You can feel graininess still in it. So just over a bit again. Very good. Just squeeze that. So you just keep on doing this. As I said, it's going to take about 5 minutes, so I'm going to stop this now.